Hey, my name is Cate from Fencer, and you're listening to Shutter 16 Magazine.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you for taking the time to chat with me here over at Shutter 16 Magazine. We appreciate your time, and we're looking forward to finding out a little bit more about your band Fencer.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks for having me.
Sure. So, since Fencer is pretty new to a lot of people, I thought maybe we could start with you telling us just a little bit about the oranges of the group, how it all kind of came together.
Yeah, definitely. So Fencer started, I think, somewhere around like early 2017. We're a three-piece rock band. I mean, pop rock, garage rock, something around there. And we had started. I was in a few different bands out of high school and stuff, and I found myself by myself, not really knowing any other musicians after a couple different projects not working out. And I went on like this band meet website, and I got hit up by the manager of this pop punk band, asking if I wanted to audition as the bass player. So I did, and I met the drummer of that band was Cameron, who is our drummer now.
Okay.
So we did that for a little bit, and we started kind of writing on our own and hanging out a lot independently. And ultimately, we had another guy who played guitar and sang in the band, and we kind of were like, we should just do our own thing. We like a lot of different types of music than what was going on in that project. So we got together a lot, and we started hanging out and calling it like side project, keeping it like a secret and stuff. And eventually we started a band. We started playing with a bunch of different people, trying to find other members and stuff like that, writing our own songs. I decided to sing. I mean, I'd been singing my whole life, but I don't know why I wasn't singing in that project that we met in. So I was like, I just want to sing. And I learned guitar really quick, and we kind of started doing that. And eventually his brother, Scott, started filling in on bass while we were in between members. And ultimately, I think, somewhere around like February 2017, we were like, why don't we just do this rather than just having him fill in? Like, it was working. And since then, that's been the project.
Awesome. Now, your press release describes your music as garage opera. So could you elaborate just a little bit on that and kind of just what your overall sound like in terms everyone can relate to?
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, garage opera bands love to come up with like their own little silly, genre names for themselves, right? So it's not like a legitimate thing. But I came up with that term a while ago. I guess it's kind of like a combination of garage rock and then like rock opera. I think the reason for that is we're pretty raw, right? We're like, we're almost, I almost go for like kind of like a modern White Stripes type thing of like very raw, but approachable, still poppy music. But also one of the ways I sing, I mean, it's very over the top and emotional, and I use a tremendous amount of vibrato. And I come from a musical theater background, so it's not opera, right?
Right.
But that kind of, I don't know, it's very over the top and like, and almost from like a point of kind of, like how you would sing in musical theater, a bit more aggressive than that. But that's kind of what my origins were with singing, and I definitely bring that into kind of this theatrical sense. I was an actor for many years. It's a very over-the-top kind of theatrical performance in a garage rock setting, essentially.
Okay, yeah, that's really a perfect description, because that is, your vocals are really just, crazy performance out there, and then, the accompaniment music it's just gritty, raw, and it almost feels live. It has that like live feel to it when you listen to the tracks.
Yeah, definitely. And that's what we go for. I mean, we want to be poppy and competitive and have catchy hooks and be easily digestible by, somebody just scrolling through, songs on a streaming service or whatever. But we want to like have our cake and eat it too. We also want to be as not commercial as possible with like the production of our sound and everything, and more so focus on the songwriting of, catchy songs. People attract to that rather than what necessarily they sound like overall, if that makes any sense.
Sure does. And then I think was it Cameron that does the producing?
Yeah, so no, we all produced this new album ourselves.
Okay.
He does all the engineering.
Okay.
But we all produced the record together. He definitely, though, was like kind of pioneered the idea of us doing that, and he engineered the entire record himself.
Okay, nice. Now, I was told you have, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly, synesthesia? Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so seeing music in colors. So how does that affect the way that you're approaching the music and the songwriting process?
Yeah, so I mean, everything, if you've seen any of our videos or looked at any of our artwork or our pictures or anything, everything we do is very blue. It's kind of a color scheme that we really like just shoved down people's throats. And the reasoning for that is, I don't know, ever since I can remember, since I was like even little in like elementary school and stuff, or like even in kindergarten when we were learning the alphabet, every letter had a color for me. And it sounds super pretentious and silly, but no, like really, like it just totally naturally, words have colors associated with them in my head, letters and words. I don't know why, it's just always been that way. And then when I learned what synesthesia is, that's what that is. So it's not like this amazing mind-blowing thing or something. It's just like a weird, it's like a weird association that happens like early on in life that like flips in your brain or something. So with that's just kind of always been a thing that I've experienced. And when we were starting Fencer, to me, I really wanted to have some kind of, I don't know, visual theme to adhere to, like something to really like force ourselves to stick to and kind of make it, I don't know, give us a little less flexibility with as much as like, you know, we're doing visually and everything. And so ultimately, the first batch of songs that Cameron and I were writing, even before like Fencer was called Fencer, they were all blue. I don't know why. That sounds pretentious. I know. They were just all blue. we had our new song, Joseph Courtney. This is, that's actually a very, very long time coming. It was one of the first songs Cameron and I ever wrote together. At the time, there was a song called Junebug and Battery Pack, which those are both released. And it was just the whole batch. They were blue. They felt blue. And so we decided to do that color. And since then, it's just gotten way over the top, out of control. Like now when we're writing, if a song isn't blue, we'll just shelve it. Just to really kind of push that. All our lighting in our studio is blue, and whenever we play live, I don't think I've worn anything other than blue in the last 6 years. My girlfriend is constantly like, dude, you need to stop. Everything I own in my life is blue now. So it's really gotten to a crazy level. But I do think that it has impacted the music pretty heavily. How? I don't necessarily know exactly how, other than the fact that, I mean, there have been numerous songs we've been writing that we've been like, or that I've been like, that it's not blue, let's try something else. And that we're constantly not really able to see much because we're in like these dark royal blue lights. So it's I don't know, it has done what it does, and I think it's just a massive part of the band and the creative process and the image, and it's just ingrained in our veins at this point. Also, we learned a few years ago that all three of us are the different water signs. The band's all about mental health and like emotion and stuff, and then I'm a Cancer, Scott's a Pisces, and Cameron's a Scorpio, which are the three different water signs, and water signs are incredibly emotional. So it is just like a weird meant to be thing.
Cool. So blue it is.
Yeah, blue it is.
So talk a little bit about the new single that's coming out, because by the time this goes up, the single will be out. Tell me a little bit about Joseph Courtney.
Sure.
And you had said that was a song from kind of way back when. What was the inspiration behind that song, and how did that song kind of come together for this, new record that's going to be coming out?
Yeah, so I mean, the new record, the vast majority of it is much more recent material. But as as happens with earlier bands, you have many years that you'll go without releases while you're just writing and writing and writing. And there are these lots of songs like from your kind of backlog that never fully get recorded. And Joseph Courtney, I think, was literally like maybe the first song Cameron and I wrote together, maybe the second.
Okay, wow.
We would do this thing where we'd go to his house at like 10 p.m. when we were like 18 or 19. And we'd sit in his room and then go sit in my car till about like 5 or 6 a.m. and we'd write and record a song from front to back, like in one session. And Joseph Courtney, I think, was like the first one. And since then, we've played it basically all the time. It's a great live song to play, and it's gone through many different iterations, but it never it didn't land on the original EP, and it never kind of made sense to kind of record. And so when we were figuring out tracks for this record, in the last year or so, one of the songs that came up was this. It's always been kind of a fan favorite with the fan base we do have who have been following us for a while. And we were kind of like, what if we rewrote this, like where we're at now? And so we did. We kind of reworked the entire song, and ultimately it ended up landing on the record, and we're very happy with it. Joseph Courtney essentially is an alter ego that I have adopted for my place in the band. Now, I don't go by the name or anything, but the idea is, especially when we originally wrote it, this character kind of who I'm able to kind of just be to cure a lot of my insecurities and do a lot of things that I'm not really able to do. I was kind of not like a person who would be the front man of a rock band when we started this.
Okay.
And that was a weird concept for me. I didn't have stage fright or something, but it was because I had, been acting for many years, but I wasn't I didn't think I was cool and stuff, let alone cool enough to be I'm the singer of this rock band or something. And I created this character who, in my head, was what I envisioned would be really cool. And so I would just kind of pretend I was that person. It was like a vice for me. And so the idea with Joseph Courtney is he is ready to take over. He craves the spotlight. He's an entertainer. He's able to just kind of get everyone's attention, and he thrives off of it. It's a whole kind of thing. It's this kind of manic persona and presence that I now kind of have become and act like. So it's a weird little history on that. And so that's kind of what the song is about for the most part, like an introduction to that character.
Cool. So bringing a little of your acting background to the stage for this.
Yeah, essentially.
Cool. Now, when the debut album comes out, do we have any tour plans in the works yet?
It's still being worked on at the moment. I have nothing to announce at this time.
Okay. Well, we hope that something works out that way, because we'd love to see you guys in the live setting sometime soon. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Now, I know that a lot of people are probably going to recognize you and know you from your days, acting, the Air Bud films, voiceovers, Young Dad, Pushing Daisies. So I wanted to ask, were you always drawn to music, and is that something that, you mentioned musical theater, that you wanted to get into, and then acting kind of came first, or did you just decide, I'm done with acting, I want to do music full time? How did that kind of transition take place?
Yeah, it was kind of both. It was never something that I was I want to do this growing up, but I was always super into it. I feel like everyone on the earth says this, but my dad got me into music when I was really young, and so I developed a love for it. But that is true. He was always playing me different bands and artists, and he was a music agent for many years, so he was super into it. And so I developed my own love of music, and I found my own bands that I really liked, even when I was really young. And I always loved singing. I sang in musical theater, but outside of that, that was my thing. And still now, singing and songwriting, singing is my favorite thing in the world. And so As years progressed, I mean, acting was just what I did, right? Like, I loved it, but it was just such a huge, I started when I was 6, I think, and I went on like over 800 auditions or something ridiculous. So it was just like my whole life. That's what I did and what I knew. And ultimately, as you do when you grow up, when I was like in high school, maybe like 15 or 16, I started kind of losing interest a little bit. And I don't think that was anything other than just having done it for a really, really, really long time and changing as a person a little bit. I had tried learning bass for the first time when I was like 13 or 14. I took some bass lessons. And then I tried starting bands here and there, but they were never like real. I would write songs, but like I didn't know how to play any instruments really. And I didn't really know anything about like music or anything like that until after I finished high school. I was like, all right, well, I don't want to act anymore. I had wanted to be a director for many years after that, and I decided I didn't want to do that. I was like, all right, I actually want to start like a real band. And I did, with my friend, and it was, you know, quote unquote, a real band. But it just kind of all evolved from there, and I just kind of decided. I remember one day, my dad talks about it all the time. I went to him and I'm like, hey, I figured out what I want to do. I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna write songs and be in a band. And that was like 7 years ago. And so we've just really pushed hard on that since then. And that's kind of, it's really clicked for me since we've been doing this. So.
Well, you can't ask for anything more than that.
Yep, that's, you know, finding your passion in life is, I think, the most important thing. And so I'm happy to have found that at a relatively early age. And that's all. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for chatting with me today. I appreciate the time, and I just love the songs that I've heard at Sanitarium and Joseph Courtney, and I can't wait to hear more when the full record drops. So thank you again, and best of luck with the new music.
Thank you so much, Chris. I really appreciate it. Have a good one.